Hey folks, well, our worst fears have manifest again. Right before our eyes. What happened? What next? Well, we're going to break it all down for you right here on the OZone.
You're in the offensive zone, your place for Leafs hockey.
Hey folks, welcome to the OZone. That's Coach, that's Katie, and I'm the Devo. We're here to talk all things Leafs. Another year, another strong season, another early exit like Groundhog Day or deja vu all over again. Katie, what do you make of it? What happened?
Well, it's I've been thinking about that. I was up staring at the ceiling at 4 o'clock this morning, and lots of emotions running through, and lots of different thoughts. This is, I think all the other years leading up to this last couple, there's always been a lot of blame and a lot of finger pointing, and it was pretty easy. I found myself last night cursing at the hockey gods more than I did at the team or the management or deficiencies. This was a pretty good team and playing a pretty good team, and it was a battle to the end. It came down to really one play, maybe one call, one bounce, and that's it, and you end up losing. So, poor Leaf Nation, we're carrying this baggage around, and it keeps going and going and going. But this one is a real tough one. I'm not sure if this makes it better or worse, but it just felt like it was a coin flip, and for the first year, and this year we didn't get it. So tough to do it. We could break down individual plays going forward, but I think we lost the coin flip.
Yeah, it's definitely a tough one, and I think anyone who's a reasonable, objective hockey fan could also say this could have very easily been the Eastern Conference Final. Two very strong teams, margin of error. There were some blowouts in this series, but as it went along, you started to see that it was really all about who scores first, and who capitalizes on that one mistake, and that ultimately was the difference in Game 7. So that was really the difference in the series. Coach, what happened, and where do we go from here?
Well, I honestly don't know where we go from here. What happened was it's as even a series as we all thought it would be. The final tally, the Leafs scored 24, Tampa scored 23. Leafs had 216 shots. Tampa had 215 shots. It was really even.
Yeah.
5-on-5, Leafs were better, and their vaunted power play was not. 27% during the season, 11% in this series. And that's like a broken record too. But look, that's a tough loss, right? I mean,
Yeah.
This is we love coming here, we love doing this, we love talking about the games, we love the excitement of getting in the playoffs. On the one hand, I was glad to get Tampa because I knew it was going to be terrific hockey that we got to see. On the other hand, that's a really tough matchup for us, right? But I would say this. Against Boston 3 years ago, against Columbus, against Montreal for sure, we lose Game 6, and I can only speak for myself. I was very confident we were not winning Game 7. Just the way all those series had gone and the way we lost Game 6 and Montreal Game 5 and Game 6, it was done, right? In my mind. Well, that's not the case for last night. Lost Game 6, and I truly believe that this team was different. I truly believe that we were going to come through here in Game 7. And so it's a different disappointment. I mean, this loss is going to get lumped in with all the rest. Toronto's the only team in any sports history, basketball, hockey, what's the other one? I don't know, that have lost in the first round for 5 years in a row, ever. So I don't know. I don't know what to say. It's really tough.
Yeah, yeah, it's tough, and I actually didn't share your sentiment. I was very pessimistic once we lost game 6 on Thursday. But when we did tie it up, when we scored there and we started to look like we were tilting the ice, that hope started bubbling up again, and unfortunately, that just hurts even more when it gets taken away. There's going to be a lot of noise. There already is, obviously. You wake up this morning and there was 100,000 articles about what the Leafs need to do and pontificating about where they go, and rightfully so. Just in so much as that the Leafs have some significant salary cap concerns and have a significant amount of players, real players that are contributing. That are unrestricted free agents, and then several that are restricted free agents. So this team won't be back next year. I think everyone knows that. There will be changes, and the organization is going to have to make some decisions. They've got some time right now. The decisions, I think, the very first decision is they're going to have to decide what they're going to do at the top, and then start prioritizing. What they're going to do after that. We're certainly going to debate a lot of that, particularly as we start to get into the summer and we start to understand what kind of free agents are actually going to be available and what the marketplace is going to look like. And I don't want to go too much into the weeds there because much of what we may say today is probably going to change. But just to break it down for our fans here, Mikheyev, Spezza, Senny, Blackwell, Giordano, Lyubushkin, and Campbell are all UFAs. And then Cachet, Engvall, Sandin, Liljegren, Rubens are all RFAs. I didn't put Hutchinson in there. He's also a UFA, but I'll leave him out of there. So the Leafs definitely have some decisions to make. Let me ask you guys this. Let's look at the top. Does Dubas stay? And we won't hold you to this, KD. Does Dubas stay?
My gut says they're gonna leave him there. I think the way this season progressed and then the way it ended and all, I do think he has the. In my gut, I think they keep him. And truth be told, big contracts aside, he did a pretty good job, really, the last 2 years improving the quality of the team. He's improved the depth of this team, and he's most of the moves he's made have been pretty shrewd. He's had some excellent signings. The signings that did work, he would manage to get off without really any issue. So, whether he deserves another shot, I'll leave that for later this summer. But my gut says he stays. And again, we can debate that later.
Yeah, I mean, going into the offseason last year, fellas, you'll recall everyone was bouncing up and down about how bad the penalty kill and how bad the special teams were in general. And playoffs notwithstanding, they've corrected that significantly. Their penalty kill was top 5. Their power play was top 5, number 1, right? So he did some things that worked out. Some of the guys they brought in that we all anticipated being great signings, like Richie, didn't work out. But he was able to roll that guy over for Lyubushkin. I mean, that's a pretty decent move. So, yeah, early exit. So did we get everything we wanted? Not necessarily, but there's certainly some positives in that part of the ledger there. Coach, what do you think?
If you're MLSE, you keep Shanahan or Dubas based on, all right, what's the plan now? How do we get better? How do we get out of the first round? And if you like what you hear, you keep them. And if you don't, then you got to make a change. Here's the thing, like Keith said, it's not in the respect business. It's not in the continuous improvement. They're in the winning business, and we haven't won. So, that stat I had, I was wrong. It's baseball, basketball, and hockey. The only team to lose 5 consecutive deciding games. They're all Game 7 except Columbus. So we're close, sure, but no team's ever done this as badly. So, look, I know we're going to get into it. We need something to talk about in the off season here. We'll get into it in more detail. But it just boils down to what's his plan, and do you believe his plan?
Right. Yeah, because, I mean, you don't even start talking about Keefe until you figure out what Dubas is going to do, right?
I have some thoughts on Keefe, too. We'll save those.
Okay. All right. So then, Coach, what's next?
Well, like you said, Mike, a few minutes ago, the roster has to change. It's going to change. Changes every year.
Yeah.
So I think you sit back, you let this, whatever it is, anger, angst, disappointment, woe is me, get over, and then we figure out what to do with the roster. Goaltending is a huge decision point. The defense is not constructed like it needs to be constructed.
Yeah.
Don't let. Hey, we got Rasmus Sandin too. He's got to fit somewhere. He's the fifth left shot on D.
Yeah.
And then what do you do with Wayne Simmons? What do you do with Andre Kasha? What do you do with Jason Spezza? There are lots of decisions. It'll be an interesting offseason for sure. But in the meantime, I can tell you what I do. I'm not going to watch hockey for a while. And believe me, guys, we all have a lot of experience in what to do after a Leafs game, round one loss. We don't watch hockey for a while. Hey, yeah. Mrs. Coach and I got straight into the Ozark last night and got knocked out 3 episodes, and I thought I'd drink a little too. So I'm already in the off-season mode.
Yeah, I mean, agreed. I'm going to share this. You guys can pile on if you want. If there's one move that you can guarantee is going to happen, or at least be prioritized pretty high up there, I got to figure number one is moving that Mrazek deal out the door.
Yeah, agreed.
And there's little question with the way that the cap is structured that they're probably going to have to shuttle some entry-level contracts into the lineup. So now's probably a good time for everyone to start going through that Marlies lineup and start taking a look at size, production, ice time, and figuring out if you want to start considering some of those guys for tryouts in September. There's a couple of names there that I'm certainly excited about. We'll get to that later on in the off season, I'm sure. But that Mrazek contract's probably got to move because you got to figure out how to sign Campbell. So, I think one goalie for another right there. Anyone else have anything you need to share before we bid our loyal subscriber base adieu?
So I would just go ahead, Kev. Go ahead.
Okay, I just was going to say, as good as the improvement, and I think we've seen a metamorphosis from Matthews. He's now not only sort of the best two-way player that we see out there. He's physical. He's knocking guys all over the place. And he looks fantastic. But, again, this team is still one-dimensional. We don't score the way you score in the playoffs. And the last half of that game shows you how tough a time they did getting inside Tampa Bay to try to even get a rebound or shot. So I think the big address will be creating versatility to this team like Tampa has, or what they did in Washington, where you go from a one-dimensional team to a 2 or 3-dimensional team, and that'll be the big quest for the offseason.
Sure. Coach?
So look, we're all big Leaf fans here. It's a tough day. Thank you to the subscribers for watching and listening. We really appreciate it. What we'd like is if you can go in the comments here and let us know what you think, and also let us know what you want to cover. Obviously, we're in off-season mode a lot earlier than we had hoped. But we really appreciate your support. Hopefully you've gotten some entertainment out of this over this season. We want to run it back here. We want to bring you some content, through the off season here that you enjoy. So let us know what you think. Let us know what you want us to cover, and we'll do our best to deliver it to you. Thanks so much.
Yeah, that's a great point, Coach. Listen, it's not how we drew it up, and we're going to reel on this for a little bit, but we'll be back. We'll be back, and we'll discuss it all. Life goes on, and hope in Leafland is eternal, obviously.
Misery
And
loves
It has to
company.
be.
But and let's be honest, the Leafs will be back, and we'll be back, and we'll be right here on the OZone.